um, and Monique maybe, who are getting their endings readings today. So if y'all don't know, for the month of September, I'm doing readings at 99, which 9 is the energy of ending cycles. And since we're going through these 999 portals, I'm doing readings for 99. They will be held on live, so that other people may witness them. But I'll be talking about specifically about what it is that needs to end in your life in order for you to move into the next chapter of your journey. Hey, memory girl. Yes. So that's kind of what we'll be doing today, which I'm excited about. Yesterday was the autumn equinox, which is the start of the feminine cycle. And so now we're moving into this energy of darkness, which darkness is not a bad thing. It's more so about, hey, Nay, it's more so about us moving into this energy of integration, of stillness, where we start to rest, where we start to get into the rhythm of our body. It's being body versus mind. We just moved out of the mental cycle of doing. And so now we're moving into this body wisdom cycle where we start to integrate. We sit in stillness. We're trying to seek to understand ourselves. We're slowing down a little bit, like things like that. And so I'm really excited because it's the true start of the new year. It's a very abundant time to be in. You know, whatever it is that you, whatever seeds you plant with it over these right now affect you over the next 13 weeks. And so it's really important that you focus on what it is that you do want to experience in this reality right now, and focus on letting go of those old versions of yourself that no longer serve you. And for me specifically, relationship shit has been coming up. Sickening. But I am realizing that what I thought I wanted in relationships, I only wanted in relationships because society told me that I should want those things. And so I'm kind of repurposing. Hey, Lisa. I'm kind of repurposing the way that I'm looking at things. And I'm realizing that just the way that I've shown up in relationships and the way that I move within relationships was heavily influenced by the way that I was told to be instead of what I actually want. And so I went back and I realized that in a lot of relationships, I was living in complete fucking delusion. The dots was not fucking connecting up here or something. And so now I'm trying to move from a place of honesty and figure out unpack those belief systems, because that's really what our journey is about refining ourselves. It's not about perfection, or what we produce. Is more so about us allowing ourselves to fail forward. You know, a lot of us learn through contrast. We got to do it the wrong way to get it the right way. And so honestly looking at those situations, and not from this place of fantasy, because you know society tells you that you should want this thing, right? And so you can't see the truth of the situation because you're trying to make this thing happen. And so you're compromising yourself and your integrity and you know what you truly want in those situations, just because you think having it makes you worthy or valuable or whatever. And so I've been unpacking that shit lately, and I'm realizing that I don't know that if I even had that I would want that, because anytime that I have somebody who is there in front of me who actually wants that, like I say that I want that, I don't want that. I actually want you to get far away from me. So yeah, I'm working through my shit. Y'all should be working through y'all shit too, because there's certain things that it's a great time for us to unpack those things that it's time to unpack, release that old version of ourselves, and start anew, because it is the new year. Oh, hey, Monique, girl. Hey, welcome. So you're getting the endings reading today, right? Relatable. Thanks, Ronnie. I just be trying to be vulnerable, because I feel like as a society, we so afraid of the truth. We don't want to tell nobody what the truth of the situation. Oh, hi, my love. Yes, you're getting a reading too. Okay, so my people is here, period. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Monique. Um, I don't know how to bring you up on YouTube, Monique, so that I could hear you. Are you able to get on TikTok, Monique? Otherwise, you're just gonna have to respond to me in the chat. But I wanted to hear your voice. These are for, hey Toya, these are for the people who book the endings readings. So I won't. It depends on what the timing is, because I have a 5:30 today, and so if I have enough time, I can offer some additional readings. Yeah, Monique, if you can hop on TikTok for me, TikTok live, just so I can call you up. and talk to you, so I can hear your voice and stuff, that would be greatly appreciated. And while you do that, just let me know, like drop something in the comments once you get on TikTok live. Oh, there you are. Okay, good. So click at the bottom where it's those two people next to each other. Actually, matter of fact, what's your name? Mo. Okay, let me see. There you are. Okay, I just sent you an invitation link, Monique. And so you should just be able to. There you go. Hey, Monique, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you this evening?
I am doing good, girl. I'm in some good energy today, so I can't complain. How about you? Okay, let me get myself together. I just need to hear you talk for a second. Can you tell me what the weather is like where you are?
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said I just need to hear you talk for a second so I can pick up on your energy. Can you tell me what the weather is like where you are?
The weather is 76 degrees, partly sunny. We had a little showers today. But it's cool. It's a nice day. Good for sitting out and just relaxing.
Okay,
just
good.
Have a good evening.
I love that. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me listen.
Okay.
Okay, so I got 3 things that are coming up for you, Monique. Give me 1 second. Let me get some confirmation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. Okay, my love. Give me 1 second. I don't know why I feel like is your grandmother on your mom's side? Is she still living?
All of my grandmothers are deceased.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so this is your grandmother on your mom's side. Is that it? Okay. All right. So the first thing that I get when I hop in your energy is your energy feels very guarded. It feels very controlled in a way. And so usually when I feel that in the energy, it feels like I assume that the person has been through a lot in relationships or with family dynamics, and there is a issue around trust. Okay. As soon as I hopped into your energy, trust is what came flying at me. And for some reason, I feel like you might be in the process of working on yourself or something. I also got an abandonment wound that's coming up and high expectations and possible standards. And then your grandma comes through and she's like, she doesn't know how to let things go. And she talks about you having more of like a rigid way of moving about life. Okay. Is this your energy that I'm picking up on?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So let's walk through this real quick because that first energy is very strong, that needing to learn how to trust people. And I think that it has come through you showing up for people in a way that they haven't been able to show up for you. Okay. This energy feels very protective of yourself, but in the process of you trying to protect yourself, it's kind of like shutting people out. And I think you are a person who actually does need that community around you. I don't know if you're in isolation right now.
Um, Not just isolation or whatnot, but I do take a lot of time to myself. I don't mind being alone.
Yeah.
Okay, with my own company.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of come and go in spurts for me. Like I could
Yeah.
be going for a while, and then I just tell my friends I'm not acting funny, but
Yeah.
sometimes I just kind of retreat to I call it my stage of recharge.
Yeah. I actually think I think you're spot on with that though. I think your energy does need a lot of that because it feels like your energy tends to absorb other people's energy. And so I think your energy needs a second to like disconnect from people. But I also I guess the thing that is coming up, or the thing that needs to be looked at, is that and I don't want to say, I don't necessarily know if it's disappointment or thinking that people are going to disappoint you, or um that's what it feels like. It feels like disappointment. Think people are going to disappoint you, but it's keeping you from learning the lessons that you gained through community, through connection with other people. And so what Grandma is saying here is like, you need to learn how to trust yourself, even no matter like who is around you. I feel like it's very easy for us in isolation to hold our integrity, right? To stand on our boundaries firm and stuff like that. But we really don't know if we are who we say we are until we start being in community with other people. And we have those moments that test our limits. We have those moments where we have to show up as ourselves. We have to show up for ourselves. Okay. So that's the first thing, is this guarded energy. And then the second thing is abandonment. And this feels like emotional abandonment. So did you have a parent who was emotionally unavailable?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
actually both of them.
Gotcha.
Present, but emotionally unavailable.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like emotional abandonment. And so the first thing that needs to end is you have to learn how to trust yourself again to navigate those realities. I don't think it's more so about trusting other people. I think it's about you being able to trust that even if you're in those environments, that you're not going to abandon yourself, that you're still going to be who you are, and that you make sure that you in community with people who are of like mind, people who actually can give back what it is that you've given out. Because I feel like that there is a uneven energy exchange. Okay. So you need to get around people who are interested in the same thing as you and that are actually in alignment with you. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this abandonment. This is specific to emotional abandonment. And this plays into that guarded energy that I'm talking about, because it feels like there was not enough space for you to process your emotions. It feels like it wasn't enough space for you to um, articulate how you felt as a kid. And I don't know if that is somebody calling you sensitive or too much, or which direction it went, but it feels like you decided at some point that your emotions were an inconvenience to people. And so you keep everything on the inside. And you kind of guard yourself and try to protect yourself in within that energy. Okay. And so this is about vulnerability. Okay. And I think a part of that is letting people show up for you, giving people an opportunity to show up for you, expressing how you feel, because your needs are just as important as everybody else's needs. That all comes into that emotional abandonment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then and I'm gonna give you a full reading. I just want to get what your guides are saying out first. Okay. Um, the high expectations and possible standards. And then I get, she don't know how to let things go. And they said rigid. Um, the high expectations and possible standards, I don't know why I feel like that's towards other people. I don't know if that's towards you. I do think that you might be building something though. But the high expectations and possible standards feels like that, and you tell me, but it feels like that energy of you needing people to show up in a specific way so that you feel safe. And so if people are not showing up the way that you need them to show up, you might cut them off, you might isolate yourself, you might pull away. It feels like that type of energy. Like people are not, I don't want to say people are not allowed to be who they are in front of you. It's just that you are very strict on how people show up.
True.
Okay. So it feels like there needs to kind of be like a calling a spade type of moment, meaning that um a realization that the only thing that you really can control is you. You know, people are going to be who they are, and you need to figure out whether or not, without trying to fix them, save them, heal them, or correct them, because that's what it feels like, a correction type of energy. Without trying to fix them, save them, heal them, correct them, pull yourself out of the dynamic, are they aligned with you? You know, do they have the capacity to meet you? You know, are they giving you what you need? And if it's a relationship that you want to stay in community with them because they're your mom or your dad or whatever the situation may be, where do your boundaries lie within that? Right? Because I think that all of this kind of, everything that we talked about kind of goes back to that energy of when you isolated, of course you can be, you're going to be at peace. You're going to be able to hold tight to your boundaries. You're going to be able to show up for yourself, but can you do that in the midst of the chaos as well? You know, can you maintain that same level of integrity as well when shit is hitting the fan around you? You know, I think that's the next test for you, is holding your integrity, trusting yourself enough not to abandon yourself when you enter into relationships, trusting yourself enough to allow yourself to be seen and perceived by people. Because I think this emotional abandonment has created this environment where you don't want to be perceived by people as emotional or vulnerable. Like there's a fear of vulnerability here, you know, and in order for you to have these genuine connections and relationships with other people, you got to allow them to see you. You got to tell people, be honest about who you are and what you're feeling, right? And then the last thing is, don't know how to let things go rigid. And so again, that goes back to the control. You only can control yourself in the environment, you know. With the letting things go, how I look at it, and this is literally changed my life, is I only look back at the past if I'm dealing with something right now in this moment that is similar to something I've been through before, and I'm just trying to grab the wisdom. Okay. I don't look at the details. I don't look at what happened, because none of those things matter. You know, I don't try to figure out the why people behave this way towards me either, because it keeps you stuck in like a karma loop. You know, it keeps you stuck in a trauma loop. If you're confused about it and it feels bad, that's a no. Right. And so I figure out what the lesson that I learned from myself, what was it trying to teach me? I focus on that lesson specifically, and then I don't revisit it. I nurture myself around what I was left with. Okay. When I look at the future, I don't look too far in the future. I say, what's the goal? The goal is this. What can I do today to get me closer to that goal? Because if you look too far in the future, you become dissatisfied with where you are now. Right. And so there has to be like some rules and boundaries around how you process things and integrate things. Okay. So boom, that's what the spirit guides are saying. Do you have any questions? Does it all make sense?
It does all make sense. And I tell people a lot that I'm a helper.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that sometimes the helper, leaves with their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when I'm a person that a lot of people confide in.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when people, telling me stuff or coming to me with their problems, while they talking, I'm already processing 10 different ways how we can fix this.
Yeah, exactly.
How I can help you turn this situation around.
Yeah.
And in doing that, it seemed like I spend a lot of time fixing other people's problems and lives, other than the stuff that I need to fix for myself.
Yep, exactly. And I want to label this correctly, okay? That's two things: people pleasing and martyrdom. Okay. And the reason why I want to label them correctly is because um I think that a lot of times when we've been through trauma in our lives, what we'll do is we'll think that our mission is to help people, is to save people. We don't want nobody to feel the way that we felt, right? We want people to know that we showing up for them, we loyal, we this, we that. We try to be a good person to other people, but in us doing that, we neglect ourselves, right? Because we don't know how to say no. We don't know how to set healthy boundaries. We don't know how to meet our needs while we're so focused on everybody else's stuff. And so we start to feel like we everything to everybody, but then nobody is nothing to us. And so it's a very alone place to be because you're not in genuine connections. You're in these one-sided situations where you're pouring into a void and you're not getting anything out of that. And so your energy needs sacred exchange. It needs mutual fairness. It needs to be around the right people in order for you to feel safe, because the problem is that you don't really feel safe to be yourself in those environments. And so we got to get you to a place where you do feel safe, because everything in this reading has to do with your energy being guarded and trying to get you to open up so that you can have more genuine connections. Because I think that is what's coming for you. Everything that we talked about is what keeps you from genuine connection. Okay. And so in this next step for you, I would love to see you in an energy where you are opening up, where you're allowing people to see you, where you're able to be emotionally vulnerable, where you're able to tell people who you are, where you get back what you give out. Because I think that's what's causing the imbalance. Okay. And so the biggest piece of advice out of what your guides are saying for me is that you need to learn how to prioritize yourself, right? You need to learn how to trust your yes. You should only be saying yes to the things that you truly want to do. If you have to force yourself to do it because you're trying to prove that you're loyal or you're a good friend or you're a good mom or you're a good whatever, then that's not you showing up authentically and not feeling shame when you can't show up for other people, because you choosing yourself is not you intentionally trying to hurt them. It's you trying to make sure that you make it to another day. Building a healthier relationship with yourself and figuring out where them boundaries lie. Okay. So that's what your ancestors this is a grandmother on your mom's side. She was very eager to speak. So this is what she's saying. Okay. Let me give you the full reading from the cards. Okay. All righty, my love. So the first card that we get is the Nine of Waters. Okay, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Okay, this is about emotional fulfillment. This is about soul joy. This is about contentment in your heart, inner abundance, radiant self love, and aligned receptivity. Okay, this card is really about you prioritizing yourself and what it looks like when you do prioritize yourself. It's also telling you that support and nurture for other people is actually built on the foundation of self love. You're supposed to love yourself in so much abundance that you have all this extra overflow to pour into other people. But in order for you to pour into other people or be of service to other people, you have to first be at a state of abundance, right? You can't be pouring from your cup, because if you pour from your cup, you just leaking energy everywhere. You're just depleting yourself, becoming exhausted in this process of trying to show up for other people, right? And so this card is the moment when joy returns to you, not as a flash, but a steady stream, which is telling you that you need to make sure that you feel alive in this lifetime. You need to make sure you go after what you're passionate about. You need to return to joy. Do those things that you like to do as a kid and build your energy back up, because your energy is probably in a depleted state. Okay. This is soul fulfillment that rises from within, not from the external gain. A deep wish may be manifesting, or you may simply be feeling more emotionally you than you ever have been before. This card marks a season of inner celebration. Okay. You've done the work, you left what no longer serves you, and now you're tending to your own waters, which is your emotional world. Okay. So that you can get back into a state of overflow. It's not just happiness, it's soul resonance. Okay, pleasure becomes sacred. Gratitude becomes your compass. You're glowing not to be seen, but because you are seen by yourself. Okay, this card is telling you is that you don't need to be looking for other people to meet you. You need to be looking for you to meet you. Okay, this is the moment where you realize that you need to see yourself, not other people need to see you. Okay, so this is when your heart is full and you stop chasing what was never yours to chase. You stop carrying the burdens that don't really belong to you. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is the guarded flame. Okay. This guarded energy. Okay. And guarded energy is scarce energy that's moving from a scarcity standpoint. Okay. This actually flew out in reverse for you. And so this is about mistrust. This is about isolation. This is about overprotection. This is about a fear of loss and a lack mindset. So in the shadow side, this four of stone is a locked vault. And when I get into your energy feels like a brick. Like it feels like you are very protective of yourself, like you're very guarded. You may be clinging too tightly to time, energy, money, or attention, afraid there won't be enough if you don't open your hand, or if you open your hand. This card reflects a mistrust of abundance, okay, often rooted in past scarcity or betrayal. You might also be holding your gifts too closely, afraid to share them in case they're misunderstood, stolen, or undervalued. While it's wise to move with discernment, the guarded flame can become a prison when built from fear. Okay, so this is saying that you can't really protect yourself from pain without protecting yourself from happiness. If you close the door on one, you close the door on all of it, right? And so instead of you being in this place where you're protecting your peace, because I think a lot of us use protecting our peace as a way to spiritual bypass, right? So instead of you being in this place of protecting your peace, what you really created was a prison around yourself. And now you can't move. You have to be very controlled. You have to fit into a box when you are meant to be free. You're meant to be living. You're meant to be moving through reality based off of what you do want, opposed to making decisions out of fear. Okay, so this card in the shadow invites a deep breath, a softening, a remember that true security does not come from withholding, it comes from alignment, making sure that the people and the things that you're doing are actually aligned with what you want. Okay, so this energy is telling you you don't feel safe. Okay, you're not safe because you hide, you are safe because you trust, which means you got to bring the trust back. Trusting yourself to be able to navigate these complex and chaotic situations, and trusting yourself to not abandon yourself just because somebody disagrees with you, or somebody has their wants their needs prioritized, any of those things. Okay, so that's next. And that's confirmation from what she was saying about the guarded energy. And then next we get the Eight of Waters, which is the departure. Okay, this is also about learning to let things go and not feeling shame for when you prioritize yourself or have to let things go that are no longer serving you. Okay, so this is about letting go, soul maturity, emotional release, courage, spiritual evolution. Okay, so the Eight of Waters appears when you are being called to walk away, not out of anger or impulse, but from a deeper knowing that something or someone can no longer hold your worth. Okay, the way that I see this card is like, what we got to understand is we're like water, right? And water kind of fits to whatever container is available. So if you keep feeling like you have to dim yourself or be less of yourself, or you can't fully show yourself around people, you're trying to fit into a container that does not have enough space to hold you. And so what you need to do is go get another container. But because that first container feels so familiar, we'll just settle for being less of ourselves around people so that we can stay in an environment that feels comfortable. Okay, this is telling you every time, just because you have to walk away from a situation doesn't mean that there was any beef or anger or anything like that. It's you prioritizing yourself, and it's not you abandoning anyone, it's you getting back into alignment with yourself. Okay, so this is a moment of emotional maturity when staying would cost your soul more than leaving ever could. Okay, even in love, even in beauty, even in comfort, things have to be left behind. In order for you to grow, in order for you to evolve, you have to release the old version of yourself, your old comforts, and step out into the unknown, because your inner water starts stirring, right? There's more to life, is what you start telling yourself. There's truth beyond this, right? And when that call comes, you can't turn it off, right? And so you may feel guilt, nostalgia, or hesitation, but the path ahead is not abandonment, it is alignment. This card asks you to trust the quiet ache that says it's time to go. You're not running, you are remembering, okay? And that means you are rising into who you actually are. So to leave what no longer serves you is a return to what truly does. And so it's going to require you to let go of some things that have been keeping you anchored to this past version of yourself. Okay, so that's confirmation with the she doesn't know how to let things go, that rigid energy. Next, I get the King Steward in reverse. And this is about rigidity, over control. So again, what we literally was just talking about, this is confirmation with that as well. Dominance, spiritual materialism, and disconnection from your intuition. Okay, because if you choose to close yourself off, if you choose to guard yourself emotionally, what we don't understand is that your emotions are your soul speaking to you. That is your soul's language. That is your body's language. Okay. So if you shut off your heart, if you shut off your emotions, you are choosing to operate out of your mind, which is the 10% of who you are. You know, you're operating out of a limited, rigid, structured, strategic version of yourself when you could be operating from the heart. But because you've closed it off, you've closed off your access to your soul. You closed off your access to your gifts. You closed off your access to your intuition. Okay. And so this is what this card is talking about. The stone steward may become over-identified with structure. You may be clinging to old systems, roles, or responsibilities out of fear, afraid that if you let go, it will all fall apart. Leadership can become burdensome, and success may feel isolating. You might also be using structure to avoid vulnerability or intuition, leaning too hard on plans, on logic, or control while forgetting the living nature of what you are building. This card warns against letting the temple become a fortress, which again is like you're creating a prison, like a prison for you to be inside. So ask yourself, is this aligned or am I maintaining this out of fear? And understand, build for freedom, not just for function. Like you need to also create space for yourself in your life. You need to also make sure that when you make your decisions, again, it doesn't come from fear, it comes from what you actually want. I think it's okay to want your peace, right? And I was also a person who was isolating, who have just recently realized that I have been pushing people away because I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to trust myself if I was around people and people needed me, because I'm the type of person who's always been everybody's everything, right? But I'm realizing that in order for me to show up, in order for me to nurture people, I have to also nurture myself. I got to extend the same compassion I give to other people to myself. Okay. And so this is understanding that with love is the risk of experiencing pain. Just because somebody was not able to receive you fully does not mean that you needed to change. It means that that person was not in alignment with you. You got to still move into those other relationships or those other spaces, taking the chance that you once took. Okay. Next, we get the Ace of Waters, and this is about that soul calling I was talking about, where your emotions start stirring, where you start to wonder if there's more out there for you. Okay, this is an emotional awakening. Okay, I do think this is on. This is coming for you. Okay, this is heart opening, sacred longing, spiritual pull. The first feeling, the ancient ache, intuitive initiation. Okay, so the Ace of Waters signals the first stirring of the soul through feeling. It arrives like a whisper in the chest, a sudden ache, or the way a tear falls for no apparent reason. This card represents emotional ignition, the beginning of a new journey through the sacred waters of your heart. Okay. You may feel a sense of deja vu, or that someone or something is calling you back to yourself. It's tender, it's raw, it's deeply spiritual. This is not just an emotion, it's remembrance through feeling. Okay. Which means that underneath all the density, underneath all the trauma, once you can actually alchemize that, there are probably some ancient codes that exist there. There's probably some gifts you have access to that you're unaware of, because density just buries it. Okay. And so through you remembering, using your body, using your feeling, you start to unlock different facets of yourself. You might be falling in love, reconnecting with creativity, or opening to your own vulnerability in a way that you never have before. The soul is waking through water, and what stirs cannot be ignored. And so the lesson here is that when your heart remembers, your soul returns to you. So if you want to get more connected to yourself, if you want to figure out what your spiritual life purpose is, you have to explore yourself openly and honestly. And you have to tap into your emotional world, because it's telling you how to honor yourself and how to honor your body. Okay. Any questions so far, my love? Is it all making sense?
Not just questions or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of it is confirmation.
Okay.
Some things that, I already, kind of already knew.
Yeah. That's exactly what this is. I tell people all the time, I'm never going to tell you something you don't already know. I'm only going to give you confirmation on where you need to look. So yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. You already know this, because we know ourselves on a deep level. It's just that sometimes we don't acknowledge the things that we need to acknowledge, or we're really good at covering things up, and so that's exactly what this is about. Okay. And so I love that you said that. Period. That means you have good awareness. You just got to move according to your awareness.
I gotta move the moves. And
yeah.
It's because, and I've been telling people, because I want to move away from where I live now.
Mm-hmm.
And why they asked me why I want to move. I said, I feel like I've grown all I can grow here,
Yeah.
and I share that. And sometimes people don't understand, and
Mm-hmm.
they want to be held here by possessions. And I'm ready.
Yeah.
And to the
Yep.
point where I have been contemplating just like walking away from it all, you know,
Yeah.
to grow on my own.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I was just talking to a client the other day about this because I ran away. I'm gonna say I ran away because it was absolutely escapism when I was younger, and I had went through a breakup and I just needed a new environment, so I moved to Orlando, and then I came back like 3 years later. And then I had got back in the energy of my family. In Orlando, I was so happy. It was like the first time in my life where I felt free and I was making all this money and I was doing what I wanted to do, grown, business stuff. And then I go back home and I'm back in the same environment that kind of hurt me. And I realized I had not healed from anything. I had just escaped. And so when I chose to come to LA, I chose to come to LA because I was trying to explore myself, and I knew that I could not stay in the environment that I was in. And I wanted to pick a place that I wanted to go, where I thought I would be happy, that aligned with my energy. And when I came out here, my granddad died. I lost my job. My cousin died right after, and I was very depressed. And I said, you know what? This is a time for me to really hyper focus on me. People can't call me. People can't, ask me to do a million different things. And it changed my life. It changed my life. I'm doing the work that I'm passionate about. And I didn't even know that 4 or 5 years ago. And so I think, sometimes getting out of the environment that hurt you allows you to not keep touching the wound and reopening it. It allows you to find your autonomy. It allows you to figure out where your boundaries lie. And sometimes when you're so entangled in people around you, you don't know where you end and where they begin, and all of those things. And so I think, if you're hearing that call, follow it, because you won't know until you try. And people who are committed to staying the same or committed to comfortability are never going to be able to understand why you would want to do something so scary, And so you don't need them to understand. You just need you to understand. And so I encourage it. You got my support. You got my vote.
All right.
All right. So we got a couple more cards here. So we have the distortion mask, okay? Which means that you got to drop the mask. You got to learn how to show up authentically, okay? This is sometimes also about false guidance. This is about inversion, flame confusion, discernment, using discernment. I think empathy is something that needs to be used with discernment. It is okay to love people and to understand people and to want to help people, but it's not okay when it comes at you are at the detriment to their dysfunction. Okay, so it's almost like if you go over there, you help, you burn your hand on that stove, next time put on the mitten, right? It's you can't help everybody, you can't save everybody. All right, so the distortion mask card appears when you are ready to pierce through spiritual illusion. This is the flame bearer's right of clarity, the moment you begin to see what is not aligned, even when it looks radiant on the surface. The distortion mask reveals itself when you are ready to see beyond illusion, especially the illusions that you have worn out of protection. Okay. You got to understand that this not being able to trust people, this abandonment issue, this rigidity is keeping you from genuine connection. Okay. It looks like armor, it feels like protection, but it's a false illusion of safety. And what you actually want in life is real safety. And that comes through self-love, that comes through healthy boundaries, that comes through standing in your integrity, that comes through disappointing people. Because in order for you to stand up for yourself, in order for you to stand in your autonomy, you're going to have to disappoint some people, right? And so this card is saying, yes, for the circumstances that you were existing in before, yes, that probably worked. But now the circumstances are different. You need something different. Allow yourself to evolve, allow yourself to change, allow yourself to grow. Okay. So this card reflects the unconscious patterns, personas, and mimicries that you have carried to stay safe, accepted, or in control. So you may be encountering mimic codes, which can be teachings, guides, or inner beliefs that you wear as a costume of light, but carry agendas of fear or distortion underneath. Sometimes this card represents external figures as well, but often it's about your own inner mimic, the voice that imitates clarity but arises from fear, ego, or trauma, right? It's your trauma responses, right? It's the things that trigger you internally. Sometimes, say for instance, you grow up in a critical environment, right? when you get out of that environment, sometimes you still have your mama's voice in your head. Sometimes you still have your daddy's voice in your head. So it's saying, look back at your belief systems and figure out if you actually believe that, or if that's what society told you to believe, or your parents told you to believe, or somebody outside of you told you that you should believe. How do you actually feel about that? Because your belief system shape how you get up and move through your environment. And so this card is telling you, look back at them and make sure they actually align with you, right? This card does not arrive to shame you. It arrives to liberate you. It's the moment you recognize illusion is the moment that you recognize illusion is the moment that you reclaim your sovereignty. This is you learning discernment, how to feel resonance rather than just believe appearances, and you're being initiated into spiritual sovereignty through the fire of discernment. Pay attention to how people make you feel. If they make you feel good and you come home and you hang out with them and you feel filled up, that's a yes, right? That's a yes. Continue to hang with those people. But if you come home and you spiritually exhausted, you feel like you need a break from them. You can't. You having a conversation with them, and the whole time you in your head planning your departure. Yeah, them is the people you need to spend less time with, right? That's what discernment is about. Discernment is like, go into the environment, see how it makes you feel, go with what feels good, and what doesn't feel good, don't go back over there. If you keep showing up and you keep telling people about your plans and they like, well, I don't understand that. Well, you need to do this, or they rejecting you or making you feel unseen, don't keep telling them your plans. Tell somebody else who gonna be like, yeah, girl, go for that. Right? It's about discernment. It's about refinement. Okay. So at a soul level, the mask that you may have once used as a survival strategy is no longer working. Perhaps it did help you navigate early environments or distortive spiritual spaces, but now it's no longer serves your oversoul truth. And so you're being asked to gently remove what is false, to sit with the discomfort of not knowing, meaning the path that's coming ahead of you, you don't have the skills for it, which is what makes your ego panic, because you don't know what to expect. You can't plan, you can't strategize, and you've been living in your mind. Right. And so your body starts to panic because it's like, well, am I doing the right thing? And, it starts to doubt itself. It starts to lack confidence. You got to know, even in not knowing, that you are the type of person who has always survived. Right. You are somebody who figures it out. And so trust yourself to do that as it's happening. Okay. Trust that your true essence will rise without force when you need it to. Trust that you always figure it out. Right. That's what this card is really about. It's about radical honesty. Who did you become in order for you to belong? Are you who you are when your mask is gone? Are you still that person when you take the mask off, when you stop pretending, when you stop showing up how other people want you to show up, when you stop trying to please other people and you start trying to please yourself? Who is that version of yourself? Okay. It's also asking you to understand that everything that's shiny is not true. Okay. Everything that look good don't feel good. Okay. And so it's telling you, don't keep up appearances, like be who you are authentically now and see what's real beneath the projections. Okay. Because your soul can feel the truth. You have to just trust it. But we live in a society that tells us we need proof. You don't need proof. You just need to trust yourself. Okay. So that's what that's about. We got the Six of Stones, which again is sacred exchange. Okay. This is what this card look like. You see they exchanging the energy. Everybody get an equal parts of energy. You got this in distorted energy, which means that you're probably giving and not receiving. Okay. There's probably a guilt around receiving. There might be hyper independence here too. Over giving, undervaluing yourself, martyrdom, blocked abundance, spiritual bypassing through service. Okay. So in the shadow, the card points to distorted giving, where generosity becomes depletion or receiving feels shameful. You may be giving too much without recognition or compensation, or refusing to accept help out of pride, out of guilt, or unworthiness. This shadow can also appear in your spiritual work, offering your soul gifts freely while feeling uncomfortable naming your needs or changing for the time. You may fear that asking for support devalues your sacredness, but in truth, all sacred things are resourced. Water is sacred and water flows. Okay. You are water. You need to be in flow. If you're going to give, there needs to be an exchange. There always needs to be an exchange, or it needs to be even in some capacity. Otherwise, you're just pouring into a void that don't have a bottom. It's always going to need more of you. Right. And so you got to have good boundaries and you got to pay attention to the pattern. So this card in the shadow side asks you, what beliefs tie your worth to how little you need? What beliefs tie your worth to how little you need? What old patterns resist the flow? Okay. And you got to understand your worth is not proven by how little you receive, right? Your worth is not proven by how much you can give. You're worthy because you exist, right? And so you got to understand that, and you got to understand that relationships are built on mutual respect and fairness. You have to have the neutrality of it, because the next card that I get for you is burnout. You're burnt out. You're tired.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
exhausted, right? And that's probably why you can't sustain in those realities. But this is a 10 of flame, which means this cycle of being burnt out, this is done. You cannot continue to move like this. Okay. You cannot continue to move like this. And again, this energy that's tied to this is martyrdom, not being able to prioritize yourself. Okay. It starts to create this resentment, this collapse, this depletion, feeling like you have to sacrifice yourself or suffer just to show up for other people, and this guilt of letting go. Okay. So this card reveals deep patterns of martyrdom and over functioning. You may feel guilty for resting, resentful for being relied upon. And I know that was a huge thing for me. I wanted to show up for everybody, but at the same time, I hated that they needed me. Why do y'all need me so much? Why do I feel like y'all handicapped when I'm not around? And so it comes with a little bit of resentment of that, or loss without the weight you once called purpose. Okay. You may feel like when who are you when people don't need you? Right. So the flame becomes transactional. You're either burning for other people, but not for yourself, or you may fear what will remain if you lay it all down. Will people still be around? Will they abandon you when you don't show up how they want you to show up? Right. But the truest version of yourself begins where burnout ends, which means that letting go is not abandonment, it is liberation. You are not abandoning them. You just are prioritizing yourself. And one thing that I would find myself saying to people when I start learning how to prioritize myself was, me choosing me is not me trying to hurt you. It's me trying to make sure that I make it to another day. And I can't give what I don't have. Right. And so this card is telling you that sacrifice is not freedom. Sacrifice is not sovereignty. Release is. Letting go, surrendering is. Okay. And then the last energy I get for you is the waiting energy. Okay. But this is also in the shadow side. Okay. And this is about, sorry, this is about self-doubt, impatience, abandoning the process, or again, mistrust, pulling up your roots too quickly. Okay. So in the shadow side, the waiting flame becomes unbearable. You may feel tempted to abandon your path out of frustration or fear that nothing is happening. Understand, nothing is something sometimes too. Like, you might be, if you're going through a transition, it takes a time for your external reality to catch up to you. And so what will happen is some people will try to do something new, but they still got their one foot in the old life, right? They trying to build this new thing, but the old life feels more comfortable. And so you kind of like teetering in between these two spaces, or these two versions of you. And what you need to understand is that it takes time for things to shift, for your external reality to mirror what you're feeling on the inside. So you have to stay devoted to the path. Okay. You may feel tempted to abandon your path out of frustration or fear that nothing is happening. Perhaps you've pulled your roots up too early in the past, searching for faster results or clearer signs. Nothing in spirit moves super quick. That urgency is mind. That's electric energy. Your body's magnetic, which means that it moves on its own rhythm. It moves on its own time. And so you got to give things time to shift around. Okay. The truth is, your doubt may be louder than your devotion right now. This card warns against interrupting divine cycles. Impatience can lead to sabotage. When your ego demands proof, it often digs up what the soul is still tending. So you may feel discouraged, unseen, or restless, but this is not the time to quit. This is the time to deepen. The question becomes, can you love something enough to let it take its time? And the advice is, do not harvest a gift before it becomes itself, which means that you got to learn how to trust the process, right? Trusting yourself, trust that you know how to navigate even when life gets complex. Nurture yourself through it. This journey that you're about to take of emotional vulnerability, of emotional opening, and really embarking on figuring out what it is that you want in life, is going to be a scary one. And so you need to learn how to nurture yourself. You need to learn how to mother yourself. You need to learn how to stay devoted to it. You need to understand you're going to have to disappoint people in the process of you trying to prioritize yourself. You're going to have to learn how to say no. You should only say yes to the things that truly light you on fire, and pay attention to how people are making you feel, because that's going to tell you how to move. Okay. But those are the things that you need to look at, is this guarded energy. You have to let people in because a big part of your journey is community. Okay. That was the main thing that they were talking about, is like all of this tying back to you not having genuine connections and you needing that. Okay. And so learning how to let people in and understanding that if you choose to love, you choose to feel pain. It's just a part of it. If somebody is not able to receive it, that's not on you. It doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. It just means that they don't have the capacity to perceive you, and that's okay. Go get somebody with bigger hands. Go get somebody with a bigger container, right? But allow yourself and be willing to try, because a lot of the energy that I have here is not willing, right? This rigidness, this not knowing how to let things go. What's happened is happened. You can't change what happened yesterday. You can only make sure that today you make choices that are more aligned with you, right? And then the impossible standards for other people, people are going to be who they are. It's not your job to fix, save, or heal them. It's only your job to fix, save, and heal yourself, and make sure that when you come into community with people, it's aligned with who you are right now, this version of you right now, standing fully in front of somebody, right? Um, and then the emotional abandonment, feeling like your emotions are invalid or that they're too much or intense. So not paying attention to what's happening in your emotional world when your soul is screaming to you, right? Your soul wants something different right now. And in
Yes.
order for you to get that, you have to make different choices, because everything comes down to the choices that you've made. The choices you made up until this point have led you to here, which means that they're not working. You got to do something different. If you chose silence before, you need to choose communication now, right? If you chose to stay in that environment just for other people, then you need to choose to leave, right? You're going to have to do something different, which means that people are not going to call you crazy. They're going to say all these things about you because they're seeing a version of you that they've never seen before. Let them, let them do the craziness. Let them speak. Okay. And so that's what I have for you, my love.
All right.
How do you feel?
Um, I feel like it's time to make some changes.
Period. Love that for you.
Just like that. I feel like it's time to make changes. Everything we talked about today was spot on.
Okay. Good.
Uh, with a lot of what I've been feeling. I do give myself a lot. I
Yeah.
give a lot. I work 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And as stressful as it is, I get up and I do it again every day.
Yeah, that's a lot. 3 jobs, girl. You Jamaican. What's going on? What? When do you rest?
Very sparingly, I guess.
Oh my goodness, no, baby. Are you happy? Like, do you feel like you happy right now?
You know what? I'm not. I can't say just. I'm not fulfilled.
Oh, okay.
I'm not fulfilled.
Gotcha.
I've been this one of my jobs. I've been saying I'm gonna quit for like 2 years, and I just keep going back. And every day I leave, and I be like, "What just happened today?"
Yeah, I feel that. It's comfortable, and I feel like sometimes it's scary because especially if you grew up, and for me, I grew up poor. And so like I had this mentality of I'm never being broke again, and baby hit the ground running. Okay. I just was doing more. I just kept on saying I just gotta do more. I just gotta do more. I had side businesses, I had multiple jobs, but I realized that I didn't feel alive. I wasn't having fun. I was literally just waking up to work for somebody else and go back to sleep and do it again and do it again. And so I lost myself in the process of chasing validation or success or whatever it was that I was chasing. And so that could make sense of why that first card was the card of joy, experiencing joy again and trying to find that.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. I'm going to put this on YouTube. And so I would suggest going back and watching it. Okay. Watching it again. And letting it soak in, letting it integrate, really sit with it and take time. I asked some important questions within this reading, right? And so I want you to really write those questions out and figure out how to answer them for yourself, figure out how to answer them for yourself. And I don't know, did you write me on, you wrote me on Telegram, right?
I did.
Okay. I'm going to send you some rituals to do as well. Okay. That's going to help.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No problem, my love. Well, I'm glad. First of all, thank you. It's very brave of you to do this on live. To allow yourself to be witnessed and seen. I think it's always difficult, or it's difficult for me when it comes to allowing myself to be seen and perceived and stuff and witnessed. There's people in the chat saying that they took hella notes because this was what they needed to hear as well. And so I just want to say thank you, Monique, and we appreciate you. We love you. And yeah, thank you, girl.
I love you too. Thank you. I
All right,
appreciate
my
it.
love.
I out for the rituals on Telegram. I will
Yeah,
rewatch this probably multiple times. I was already
good.
taking notes myself too.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
it is time for change. It is.
I love that. And change is not easy, but if you talk yourself through it, if you know that you're going to be okay, if you stick to the plan, you will be perfectly fine. Me choosing to come out to LA and moving away from, I'm 2,000 miles away from my family. Me choosing to do that and focus on myself and get myself together and figure out what I like and what I didn't like, stop trying to fix everybody and focus my energy towards me, the best thing I've ever did in my life. I didn't realize how miserable I was until I waited till I hit rock bottom. That's why I do the work that I do. And so if you feel the call, follow the call. The worst that can happen is that you find yourself. You know,
You're right.
the worst
You're
that can
right.
happen is that you find yourself. And so as you navigate, if you're struggling, you got access to me through Telegram. Just hit me up. I'm more than happy to be a listening ear or give you some advice or whatever the case may be. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing yourself like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome, my love. I want you to have an amazing rest of your day. And again, this will be on YouTube later, okay?
Okay.
All right, my love.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Hold on, let me see how to
I don't know
disconnect.
how to hang up.
Oh, it's okay. I got you. All right. Period, real. Yes, that is the worst that can happen is that you find yourself, okay? That you end up being happy because I did. I've been miserable and depressed my entire life. My entire life. Okay. So yeah. Camilla, hey girl, you ready? Let me invite you up, Camilla. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just reset myself real quick. All right, Camilla. Let me go ahead and invite you up, my love. Wait, what does it say? Essie? Hold on, what was your name? Hey, Court. Welcome in, love. Hey, Destiny. Camilla Essie. Okay, I just sent you the invite link, my love. And Camilla, you sent me a message on Telegram, didn't you?
Hi, yes, I did.
Hi, Camilla. How are you, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing good.
I'm sorry if there's background noise. I'm outside.
Oh, you okay, girl? Life don't stop happening just because we got stuff to do, so it's okay. So this is going to be your endings reading, and so I need to talk to your guides and your spiritual guides first. And so what I want you to do is just tell me what the weather is like where you are so I can hear your energy.
So I'm in New York. It's pretty cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
There was supposed to be some rain today, but I'm outside. It's pretty nice. No rain.
Okay, cool. Give me 1 second. Let me just listen for a second. Okay, I don't know why that feels like confidence. Okay. excuse me. Okay. Is your dad or your dad's dad passed away?
I'm not too. I believe so. I'm not in contact with my birth father.
Oh, okay. Okay. You believe that he's passed over though?
I believe so.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm in New York.
Oh, girl, it's okay. I already know how y'all get down, so it's all right. All right. 1 second. I don't know why I feel like this is your dad coming through. Okay. Does he have something to be sorry for?
I believe so. Him and my mom split up before I was born, and we
Okay.
kind of just moved away. And he still lives in our country.
Got you. He said it was complicated.
Right.
And it wasn't
And
your
this is his
fault.
father.
No, this feels like your dad. I didn't know if it was your dad or your dad's dad that's passed over. But when it initially came through, I heard dad. And so I was like, I don't know if her dad has passed or not. But no, this feels like it's your dad. And he said it wasn't your fault. And that it was complicated and he's sorry. And so I'm gonna give you that and I'm gonna tell him to pull back because I got a job to do. So I just wanted to give you that though.
I appreciate that.
Were you blaming yourself for something that happened between your mom and your dad?
I don't think I was blaming myself. I think I thought about, what happened because I never really got like a clear story. I was kind of just getting a one-sided story from my mom's side of the family, which is who I lived with.
Yeah.
But I have absolutely no communication with my dad's side of the family.
Got you. Okay. Well, he keeps on saying something like he keeps bringing it back up to tell you that it wasn't your fault. And so I don't know if that was you blaming yourself or like what it was, or maybe you internalized that it was about you or whatever it is. But he keeps telling me that I need to tell you that specifically. And so that's what I'm telling you. All right. Is there anything else that she needs to end? Okay. Okay. All right, let me get some confirmation real quick. I got about a couple different things for you. Hold on. Oh gosh, they're not done. Hold on. Um okay. All right, let me get confirmation, my love. Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right. All right, my love. So the first thing that I get when I get into your energy feels scared, and I don't know if this is anxiety or what it is, but there feels like a fear of failure, a fear of the unknown that's coming up. And somebody keeps saying she needs to take more risk. She needs to take more risk. I also get this scarcity energy. And I don't know if what that is just basically like lack, moving based out of fear instead of based off of what you actually want. Um, and then also get the internal commentary. I think you second guess yourself a lot. Like I think that you struggle with sticking to one thing and you struggle with the internal talk that's happening. Okay. Outside of that, trying to please everybody. Um, there's this need of like this is your life and you need to make the decisions that are best suited for you, not what your mom wants you to do or your aunt wants you to do or society wants you to do. Like I think you're supposed to be charting your own path. And I think that also feels scary to you because the not knowing or feeling like you're going to fail or not wanting to take risk. Okay. So that's what I'm getting spirit guide wise. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns? Am I picking up on you and not the person sitting next to you?
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm kind of I actually made the decision to withdraw from my classes on the 21st.
Okay.
And pretty much the dilemma that I'm in right now is, I live in New York and I'm kind of like, trying to start this creative project. And
Yeah.
I was thinking about moving abroad and I have a trip coming up to London next month. And I've been getting a lot of like London synchronicities.
Yeah.
So I was kind of, wanted to know what that's about.
Yeah, I feel like your path is not going to look like anybody else's, and so that you shouldn't compare yourself to what's going on around you, or try to meet the standards that people are setting for you, because it feels like you're supposed to do something that is just different, and so there's a need for you to kind of trust yourself and trust your ability to guide yourself, but there's also that second guessing type of energy that's coming up, which can make sense with what you are going through right now. What spirit is saying is that you need to take risk. Like you need to try new things. You need to get yourself out of your comfort zone, and you need to be a little bit more confident in yourself while you're doing that as well. Okay. So that's what's coming from your team. That's what's coming from spirit guides. Okay. I don't know why though. I feel like this thing in London is a good idea. It actually makes me feel really good. I think it actually feels like something that you want to do. So who has reservations though? Have you told your mom?
It's my sister.
Oh, your
I
sister.
work with my sister and I help her a lot, and she kind of has this feeling, I guess, of abandonment. Like my soul feels really tired in New York, and it's showing in every way, in my face, it's showing in my anxiety, like you mentioned. I'm just so ready to go. But again, there's like a fear of the unknown. Like, am I going to be successful in this thing that I'm trying to do? Because it's very unconventional.
But I think you're supposed to be unconventional though. Like that's what it feels like. Your energy is not supposed to be in a box, and it feels like people are trying to put you in a box, or people are trying to put you somewhere that your energy is just too lively to be. Like your energy has to be doing something that you're passionate about. And I think that this is a start of you doing things for yourself instead of doing things for other people, or because other people said that they need you to show up in a specific way. And so you say your sister is who has reservations, not your mom? Why's your mom coming up?
She definitely does as well. I just know that she's not as vocal about it as my sister is.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know why I feel like this is a new chapter. Okay. And so London feels like a good thing. And so I would highly consider it, because I think that it's going to start you down a snowball effect of you being able to trust yourself and be confident in your decisions. But it's going to require you to trust in the process and not self-sabotage from the inside, because it feels like the internal conversation, like you're constantly going back and forth inside of your head. Okay. So that's what I got to say about that. Now let's get into the reading. All right. So the first thing that I get is a major, which is the sacred spiral, right? It's not thinking in linear terms, which I think you would make sense with what we just spoke about. Okay. This is coming out in the shadow, which means that it's your energy is upside down here. Okay. This is the energy that fears endings. It has identity attachment, meaning like you've attached yourself to specific identities that are keeping you trapped, right? It's resisting closure. It's a cyclical entrapment, a false completion, a fear of beginning again. bypassing integration, disorientation after growth. Okay, that's usually what kind of comes in with this energy. So in the shadow, the sacred spiral may indicate that a cycle has completed, but you are still holding on to it. Okay, is that not confirmation, baby? Perhaps to a version of yourself, a relationship, a mission, or an identity that once served you but no longer does. There may be fear of what follows integration. You know, if I'm not seeking anymore who am I? If this is over, what's next for me? Okay. You may also be caught in a loop, returning again and again to the same lesson disguised in a different form. But endings are not deaths, they are doorways. To fear completion is to deny the spiral as sacred movement, meaning like, if you feel stagnant, if you feel like you're not moving where you are, you have to make another choice. You have to do something differently. And so that's why I think London is going to be a good thing for you. And so I just want to say that again, girl, just to, go out there and live your London life and come and tell me how it went. Okay. But in the shadow, the sacred spiral can mask as completion when deeper layers are still seeking integration. You may feel a rush to move on or to celebrate or transcend without honoring the threshold that you just crossed. You might also fear of what comes next, mistaking completion as an end rather than a sacred re-entry into the spiral. And so what you need to do is let yourself pause. You need to sit in stillness because true wholeness requires space to settle. It requires absorption and also a becoming in a way. And so the advice of this card is release the old concepts so that the next fire has room to rise within you, but also don't force closure. Some cycles echo until integration. And so I don't know if there is something that you keep repeating in your head, or maybe there was a instance where you took a chance and you failed, or that might be replaying in your head. I don't know what's replaying, but whatever's replaying, sit with it, sit present with it, and don't judge it, and allow yourself to move through it. Take your time when it comes to making decisions. Don't do it out of impulse. Understand that whatever is for you is gonna come and get you anyway. All right. And so this is basically telling you that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to not know what's next, but that doesn't mean stop moving. That doesn't mean don't take the risk. Okay. The next card that I get is the Queen of Flame. Okay. This is a mirror energy, and I get 3 different mirror energies for you, which means that you probably are a mirror, which is not a bad thing, but you need to kind of be clear in order for you to do what you came here to do. And this specific card is about embodiment. It's about radiant presence. It's about intuitive fire, soul magnetism, and activation through example, meaning you came to actually embody the example you want to see, and you serve it as an example to other people, which means that when you do your life in your own unique way, other people are going to look at you and be like, oh my gosh, what is Camila over there doing? I didn't even know that was an option, right? And so you really do got to embody who you want to be in this reality, okay? The Queen of Flame does not chase, prove, or convince. She becomes. Her fire is lived, not just spoken. And this card arises when you're being called into radiant embodiment. You are walking your truth, and through that, others are inspired to find their own truth. The Queen is a mirror. What she activates in others is what she has dared to integrate within herself. Okay, so the card invites you to stop second guessing the power of your presence, which we got that second guessing energy, confirmation. Stop second guessing the power of your presence. You are no longer just a flame bearer. You are the flame. There is no need to shout to be felt. This is sacred magnetism. It asks for trust. It asks for devotion, and it asks for the courage to live visibly in your truth, even when nobody is watching. Okay. And so you got to understand that when you embody what you're supposed to embody, that's how you help. That's how you that's when you're transmitting what you came here to transmit. Okay. And so good confirmation there. Needed that.
Yeah, I needed that.
Yeah, needed that for sure. And then we have the Two of Waters, which means that you could be mirroring someone else, or somebody else could be mirroring you. This is about codependency. Okay, this is about illusion of oneness, emotional fuss, projection, identity loss, and connection. Okay, so in the shadow side, the sacred mirror becomes a distortion. Instead of reflecting you back to yourself, you may project your soul's longing onto someone else and believe that they complete or define you. Or there's emotional enmeshment can arise here as well. You feel responsible for somebody else's feelings, or you forget where your truth ends and theirs begins. Okay. This card warns of illusion of oneness, mistaking closeness for union or connection for wholeness. You might be chasing soulmates to avoid being with yourself. The mirror only becomes sacred when you know who you are within it, And so the advice of this card is a mirror should reveal you, not replace you. And so this card really is talking about you feeling responsible for how other people feel about certain things, and you trying to appease them or please them, in turn neglecting yourself. And so you need to make sure that you know, you don't take on other people's feelings about you as your truth. Okay, you need to learn how to stand in your authenticity, even when people don't agree, even when it's people that you love. Okay, so that's the sacred mirror. And then we have the mirror priestess, but she is also in reverse. This is high priestess energy, by the way. But she's in reverse, and this is about self-doubt. It's about spiritual repression, fear of inner truth, meaning like you might not be telling yourself the truth on the inside, blocked intuition, fear of being seen, a mistrusting of feminine power. Okay, so in the shadow, the mirror priestess reflects a disconnection from your inner knowing. Again, when I'm in your energy, it just feels like you ping ponging inside your head. Like it's like you know, and then you don't know, and then it's just like a kind of going. It's almost like you can't trust yourself to make the right decision. Okay, and so that's what this really is about. You may be doubting your gifts or silencing part of yourself because you think that they don't make sense, or they aren't being validated by the people around you externally. Okay, this is a wound of intuition denied. This can also appear when you are over identifying with other people's projections. Perhaps you've been deferring to external authority, mistrusting the subtle, quiet knowing that has long stirred within you. This card may reflect a lifetime or many of being ridiculed, disbelieved, or even punished for your intuitive gifts. The veil feels thick. You may also be playing small to avoid triggering others with your sight. Hold on. Do you dream?
Drink?
No, dream.
Dream? Yeah, I dream.
I don't know why I feel like your subconscious has been talking to you through your dreams. Do you write your dreams down?
I sometimes I do, but it's funny that you mentioned that because I had taken a trip with my sister a couple of days ago to Portugal, and I kept on getting this dream. It was this weird dream of centipedes and cobwebs, and it was like it was at my house, and there was like cobwebs in this like certain place in my apartment, and I was like, why are there cobwebs here? Like I literally just cleaned, and there were like about 5 of them. And then the next day I had the same dream, but there weren't any cobwebs. There was just like centipedes, and I'm like, what is this? And I couldn't really decipher that, but I do remember those 2 dreams. Those were like the 2 most recent ones.
That's so interesting because being out the country, because you're not by all these 5G towers, sometimes your dreams become more potent, but it feels like your subconscious keeps trying to communicate something to you. And so dreaming of centipedes and cobwebs can carry layered symbolic meanings, often reflected deep-seated anxieties, hidden threats, or spiritual struggles. Centipedes in dreams are frequently associated with fear, anxiety, and a sense of being overwhelmed by persistent small-scale problems. They can symbolize inner demons, which I mean, it's just like the things you need to look at, right? Unresolved conflicts or feelings of being pursued by something threatening may amplify these feelings, representing entanglement, stagnation, or a need to clear out neglected aspects of your own life or your own mind. When you first told me that, I don't know why I thought that was your inner world. When you said I was at my house, I don't know why I felt like that was like your inner world. And you saying like, I feel like I just cleaned up, right? And it was the cobwebs are still there. I think there's just things that you're missing or things that you need to look at in your life as well, and things that you're worried about, because it in the middle of me trying to give you this message from this card, they kept saying that she's dreaming, she's missing the point, she's missing the point. And so I think you need to write your dreams down, love, because I think that you are getting a lot of intuitive hits, but you are not paying attention to them. Okay. So I just want to say that. All right. So this can also appear when you are over identifying with other people's projections. Perhaps you've been deferring to external authority, mistrusting the subtle, quiet knowing that has long stirred within you. This card may reflect a lifetime or many of being ridiculed, disbelieved, or punished for your intuitive gifts. The veil feels thick. You may also be playing small to avoid triggering other people with your sight. You might be afraid to trust what's rising within you, especially if it challenges the identities, beliefs, or systems you've known. Or perhaps your dreams are intensifying. Okay, and this is even before I got to the dreams. Your dreams are intensifying, but you brush them aside as nonsense. This card reminds you your truth does not require permission. The mirror priestess is in shadow, often appears when you are ready to reclaim your intuitive sovereignty, but still fear what may surface in the reflection. She is not here to wound you. She is here to help you remember that your truth, no matter how quiet, is divine. Sometimes we fear what we know because knowing means we must change. The mirror priestess gently holds space for that fear, but she doesn't let you stay there. She says you are safe to see. Okay. So, what this advice is, don't wait for proof. What you feel is real enough for you to honor it. And don't hide your gifts to stay palatable. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know why they keep highlighting the dreams. And so I just need to say that again. Do you think you have gifts?
I do.
Okay. Okay. That would make sense because a buried high priestess. Yeah.
I
Um,
just don't really know what they are.
yeah. Yeah, because they keep saying that she's a high priestess. Um, so a lot of high priestess right now in this timeline come in through very dense environments. And the codes of them have been buried underneath the trauma of that lineage. And so some of us come to clear the are generational curses, right? We're generational curse breakers. But what that really means is that you clear the trauma of your lineage, all the things that have been pushed onto you or projected onto you. You learn how to stand in your authenticity outside of them. And when you do, you radiate this energy that shows other people what's possible, right? That's what it means to be truly, truly embodied. And you get this mirror energy 3 times. And if you're a mirror, you didn't really come here to be met. You came here to meet yourself. And so it's so important that you honor yourself and that you learn how to get in your body and out of your mind. And you learn how to prioritize yourself and what you need, because when you do that, you inspire everybody else to do that as well. And I don't know why I keep feeling like you have gifts that you are ignoring and you have intuition that you're ignoring. And what they said is discernment. And that feels connected to your womb though. Womb codes. But they feel buried though. And so I think you need to do some shadow work, my love.
Yeah.
Because I think you're a seer. And they keep calling you a dreamer, like you're a dreamer. And so I don't think dreamer is in like imagination. And, like I think that things are happening in your dreams that you need to be paying attention to. Does that scare you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think for the past like 2 years, maybe year and a half, I've been really getting in touch with my spirituality and trying to, do the shadow work and kind of to like get more in tune with my intuition. But the thing that's really been blocking me recently and bringing me back to this like headspace is like this family pressure of,
right.
Just staying here. Like, anytime I do mention the fact that, I'm moving, they're like, they keep on trying to project all these things onto me. And, no matter how much I try to not identify with that, it still does stick with me. So I guess that's where the block is coming in because
I feel that because I think you're clairsentient. I think you are a filler. I think you're a filler, and sometimes it's so hard when you're a filler because you start absorbing everybody else's shit, and you spend a lot of time because you can feel what it is that they need, and you try to meet those needs, and then you end up abandoning yourself. And so, feelers have to learn how to move without the proof of stuff, which is really freaking hard. It's really hard for you to move because we live in an environment that's pushing us towards being mental about things, like logically understanding things. And so, I just wanted to say that because they keep telling me that you have gifts, and I'm just like, does she know this? Like, what? Like, I'm having an internal conversation because they're bringing up more than what this was supposed to be about, which is okay. I love to help in any way that I possibly can, but I think that you need to do shadow work, and through you doing the shadow work, you are going to develop layers of yourself that you did not even know was there. And it's almost like whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, I don't even know that you know what that is yet, because I think there's a disconnection between you and yourself right now because you're too busy trying to please everybody else. And I think that's why I think London will be good for you, because it gives you a second to get out of that energy, and so that you can gain your own autonomy and figure out what you actually want absent of everybody else. And so I just want to give you that because it just keeps coming through and it's coming up, and these are my spirit God saying this. And so I'm just trying to make sure that I give you what you need without overwhelming you. Okay.
No.
Okay. So next is oversoul flame body. Okay. And this is about integration. It's about stabilization, rooted knowingness, reclamation, divine descent, sacred disruption, and realignment. So this is the moment when the oversoul no longer whispers from afar. It speaks from your bones, which means that you are here to embody, which means you got to become more of yourself and less of other people. The oversoul anchor marks the phase in your remembrance journey when the higher self is no longer separate, the fragmentation has ceased, and you begin to stabilize in your true tone. Okay. But you're experiencing this in the shadow side, which is about bypassing. It's about disembodiment. It's about avoidance, spiritual bypassing, resistant embodiment, that type of thing. So in the shadow, this card reflects a fear of truly inhabiting your vessel. Which means that you may cling to spiritual practices, visions, or downloads as a way of avoiding life on earth, or you may seek the oversoul out there rather than remembering it's in here, meaning like you're looking towards things in your external environment instead of going within, understanding it's in your skin, it's in your breath, it's in your voice. What you want is on the inside, right? And so there can be resistance to grounding in your mission, to charging for your gifts, to committing to form, to being seen as the real you. And sometimes this fear is ancestral. It echoes of lifetimes when you were punished for being embodied in your truth, or it may be recently tied to collapse or trauma. The shadow of this card appears when you're avoiding descent. You may be clinging to lightness or insight, or have a non-attachment to your body, your home, or relationships that are asking for your attention. And there also may be fear. What will anchoring this truth cost me? You might be witnessing the falling away of roles, partnerships, or careers and mistaking it as failure, but it's really your soul making space for you right now. This card calls you back to your roots, not as regression, but as restoration. You're not here to live above the earth. You're here to walk as your oversoul on earth. And so your oversoul does not want you to float. It wants you to be rooted, which means that you really got to learn how to live from your body and not your mind. You really got to root yourself in feeling, meaning like your emotions are here to guide you and add depth to your experience. They're telling you whether you like something or you don't like something, and they help you to make decisions because it is your soul speaking to you. But if you don't pay attention to what's happening in your emotional world and your thoughts and your emotions are not aligning so you can take the appropriate action, then you are abandoning yourself to prioritize somebody else's comfort or what somebody else needs, which keeps you from your intuition because you break the trust with yourself, right? It's like yourself is constantly telling you something, but you're going against it because you're letting something outside of you convince you that that's the wrong thing to go. And so you do that so many times that you start to feel abandoned by yourself, and so like I think there is a need for you to root back into your body wisdom, which means you got to pay attention to how things make you feel. And if it makes you feel good, yes, go towards it. But if it doesn't, you need a boundary. You need to learn how to say no. You need to say, this is my life, and I'm gonna live it the way that I want to live, because that's literally, this is your life, is what they told me to write at the beginning, trying to please everybody. This is your life. You have to live it the way that you want to live it. Because if you don't, you're bypassing. You're not ever going to figure out what your purpose is. Okay. And so the emotional landscape sometimes can feel heavy. When I get this energy, usually people bypass because they don't want to feel their feelings, or they don't want to, they struggle to honor themselves. And so I just want to let you know that you can do it. You just got to stay dedicated to it. Okay. Next is overflow. Okay. This is about you only pouring into other people, understanding that support, care, and nurture for other people is built on the foundation of self-love. You should only be given to other people when you are in a state of abundance. If you're not in a state of abundance, then you have to focus your attention back to you. It's also about joy. It's about having fun and doing what really excites you, so that you can feel fulfilled in this lifetime. Okay. And so the Nine of Waters is the moment when joy returns. It's not as a flash, but as a steady stream. And this is the soul fulfillment that arises from within, not from external gain. It's a deep wish that could be manifesting, or you simply feel more emotionally you than you ever have. This card marks a season of inner celebration where you've done the work, you've left what no longer is serving you, you tend to your waters, and now you're in the state of overflow. In order for you to step back into abundance, you have to start honoring yourself. You got to start having fun again. You got to get back in that childlike spirit and explore and try new things and, put yourself out there. Okay. So this is not just about happiness. This is about soul resonance. Pleasure becomes sacred. Gratitude becomes your compass. Meaning like pay attention to your emotional world because it's going to tell you what decision to make. You're glowing not to be seen, but because you are seen by yourself. Okay. Receive this moment. You've earned it. This is when your heart is full and you stop chasing what was never yours to chase. Okay. You cannot live your life for other people. You can't do what other people want you to do because then you end up in a place. And as a person who literally did everything right, I did everything my parents told me to do. I went to college. I was a student athlete. 7th in the nation, GPA high as hell, all of the things. I was miserable. Because I never wanted to do any of those things. Right. And so I had to go against the grain. I had to do things my own special way. And I had to go after the things that made me happy. And the whole time that I was doing that, I was getting people in my ear like, you're just not practical. You're just not being realistic. You're just whatever. And now the person who they was calling crazy is now the inspiration of the family. Now everybody going back to school and everybody trying to figure out what they want to do. But at first they was calling me crazy and telling me I was off my motherfucking rocker and I need to be practical, right? The same people don't understand what they can't conceive. And sometimes the vision is not given to them because it's not for them to fulfill. And so you really, really got to step into your own and understand that do what makes you happy. Because I think when you start living based off of what makes you passionate, you're going to show other people what it means to be alive. Okay. Next, we have the threshold, okay? And this threshold card, as you can see, this is the test. That means you are standing at a threshold right now, and the choice that you make right now is really important, okay? This card is in reverse, though, so it's about isolation. It's about burnout. It's about this fear of failing right when you're at the end, right? It's about martyrdom and giving up. So in the shadow, this card reflects a dangerous silence. You may feel tempted to quit just because the flame would have birthed something new. You might isolate. You might think that you must carry the entire fire alone, meaning dealing with everything on the inside by yourself. So the threshold test can reveal the inner martyr, the one who carries everything, asks for nothing, and collapse under the weight of sacred responsibility. You do not want to get to this point, okay? The flame is not meant to break you. It is meant to transform you. So do not extinguish what only needs rest to rise again, meaning that it is so important for you to honor yourself. It is so important for you to understand that every choice that you make is opening up a new timeline for you. And you're not going to be able to please everybody in this process of you choosing yourself. Okay. And then this is our last card, which is one of my favorite cards in this entire deck. But these are the lovers. These are the dreamers. These are the lovers, right? And this card being out of alignment is emotional impulsivity, romantic projection, avoidance of reality, mood-driven choices, and ungrounded promises. So as the water holder becomes a siren for their own illusions. You may rush into love or inspiration without grounding, driven more by the height of the emotion than the reality beneath it. Feeling becomes truth even when they shift like tides, which means that it's so important for you to wait for the emotional cycle to pass for you to make decisions clearly, okay? Because you are a feeler. And so you feel things intensely. The knight in shadow may also make promises they can't keep, not out of manipulation, but out of deep yearning to merge. They say yes in the moment, only to retreat when it becomes real. Beware of chasing connection to fill a void rather than to deepen your truth. And this really, to me, is people-pleasing energy, right? It's when you can't say no. And we don't realize that is because we're trying to prove that we're a good sister, a good daughter, a good wife, a good whatever the case may be. And that comes at our own detriment. It robs us of genuine connections because our needs are not being met in those relationships, okay? And so not everything that you feel is a soul contract, okay? It is okay for you to choose yourself. It is okay for you to go after what you want. It is okay for you to be different, okay? And different does not mean bad. It just means different. And a lot of times people the vision is not given to them because it's not meant for them to fulfill. And so the things that you need to let in is it's trying to please everybody. You're going to have to disappoint other people to show up for yourself. Okay. And you can even tell people, like I said, one of my favorite things to say when I was learning how to set boundaries is me prioritizing me is not me trying to hurt you. I'm just trying to make it to another day and I can't give you something I don't have. Right. And so, when it comes to what you need to end is this fear of failure, this fear of the unknown. Okay. You need to just take the risk and you need to trust yourself to be able to guide yourself wherever that leads you. There's also this lack mindset, okay, making fear-based decisions instead of decisions that are aligned with who you are. It's also the second guessing in your head. You need to learn how to trust yourself, which means you need to stop breaking promises to yourself. If you say you're going to the gym 3 times this week, you need to go 3 times this week, even if your mama call you on the third day and say she needs you, right? You need to commit to showing up for yourself. It also means that if somebody asks you for help, tell them, I got to think about it. Take a second before you decide in that moment, because that last card is about you being quick to respond, quick to, and when we're quick to do something, we don't give our body enough time to process it, right? And so let me think about it. Definitely should add that to your vocabulary, and take time before you move so quickly. But the main things that I want you to take away from this is do the thing. There is no such thing as failing. It's only weeding out options that work and ones that don't. Okay. And so take the risk and know that you're going to be okay in whatever it is that you decide. You don't need to have everything figured out to move. A lot of times clarity comes while you're moving. Okay. And so I do think you need to take the risk. I do think you need to live your life for you. And I do think you need to stop second guessing yourself and trust in your ability to guide yourself. Okay.
I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I knew a lot of this, but I was kind of, again, second guessing myself in that as well.
It's okay. Sometimes we need confirmation. I was like that too when I first started my journey. I tell people all the time that even when I was starting with my gifts, I was second guessing myself, and I just had to say, no, I'm just going to say the thing, and they're going to either say yes or no, and that's just what it's going to be, and so willingness is so important in your journey too, as well, my love. Willingness.
I really, really, really appreciate your time, and
you're welcome.
As well. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, my love. And again, this will be on YouTube. And so please check it out. Please watch it again. Please review it again. But I would love to see, how London turns out for you, my love, because I do think that is a really good thing for you. I don't know why, but it sends like the feeling like you feel when you're about to laugh, it sends that up my chest every time I touch that word. And so I think it's something you really want to do. And I think you just need to take the big swing. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. But you got to figure yourself out for you, because that was one of the first things they said is she's trying to please everybody. This is her life. This is her life, and so this is your life, my love, and go out there and live it. And you wrote me in Telegram, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm gonna send you some rituals as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate this, and I'm looking forward to rewatching this again. On a clearer mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I am happy to help, my love. You have an amazing rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you so much. You as well.
You're welcome. Bye, girl.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. And so, hold on, let me find her real quick and send her these. Okay, hold on. I thought she wrote me earlier today. Oh, yeah. So we're gonna send her these real quick, y'all. So I was these are the ending readings that I have for September, that you guys just witnessed. And it's a combination of intuitive channel to see what your guides and stuff are saying. But also confirmation through the cards, of course, just to give you some guidance on what's happening on a deeper level. But these are the endings readings for September, because again, we just started that feminine cycle, which is a cycle of integration of rest. It's really the best time of the year for you to integrate, for you to stop and figure yourself out, and figure out what's important to you, and all of that jazz. And so I've been doing these endings readings, and they're happening on live because I'm 9 times out of 10 going to say something that somebody else needs to hear. And I like to do these readings over live because not everybody can afford a reading. And I won't, if I do say something that somebody else needs to hear, that they have an opportunity to also benefit from the readings. And so anytime that you book a service with me, except for like the flame lineage readings and stuff like that, you can choose to do them on live so that other people can witness. And I always appreciate that, just because again, we need each other as much as we act like we don't. We do. And so yeah, so thank you, Camilla, for coming up, my love, and thank you for allowing us to witness you. Um, and all of that jazz. That's all I really came on here to do today. Hey, Rhonda. Let me go back and see some of y'all comments. Hey, Shay. How you doing, girl? Let me see. Oh, hey, Logo. I'm glad you caught me. And Court came, Camilla. The worst that can happen is you find yourself. Yeah, sometimes I'll be saying the word. I'm telling you. Gratitude to be here. Oh, I love that. I'm happy you came on too. I'm just trying to make sure. Okay. It don't seem like a lot of people said too much in the comments while I was doing the readings. But yeah, these will be on live. These are held on live. I'm doing good, Shay. I really am. I've had a really great week. I've had a burst of energy. I've literally randomly yesterday started cleaning my house. And not that my house is dirty, but it's like one of them deep cleans, like one of them soul cleans, And so I started deep cleaning yesterday and just reading a book and just I'm figuring myself out, which feels so good. Like I feel like I'm such a complex person and I feel things so deeply and intensely, and I'm always trying to fix something or whatever. But I feel like in this place where I finally understand myself, and that I'm getting to this point where I'm just allowing myself to grow and evolve and giving myself space to do so, and trying to make sure that I'm showing up for myself and I'm showing up authentically and honestly, and I've dropped the mask and all the things. And so I feel like I'm just every day I'm becoming more of myself, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm happy to be doing the work that I do. I love getting up in the morning time because I'm like, okay, I got to do this today and that today. And I love getting the readings to people and the feedback and all of the things. And so life is really great. Life is life in a beautiful way right now. And I just feel honored to be able to help as much as I have been. And, glad that my content is still resonating with the people who need to hear it. So yeah, so I just hopped on today to do those two readings. I don't think I have anybody else in the chat, do I? I know I got two more people who need readings. But I don't think I know I got three more people who need readings, but I don't think I heard back from them yet. Oh, thank you, boo. So yeah, but your girl been booked and busy, and I ain't mad at it. But your girl been booked and busy, and so I've had, what is that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clients today, and so I got a client in about 4:44 on the clock. Changes coming soon. I had a client in about 45 minutes, and so I love to get a reading. Oh yeah, babe, all you do if you want Yep, you book them through my website. My website is www.bigtajj.com. But let me give you the tea real quick. I have endings readings right now, which are specific to what you need to end to get you ready for this new feminine cycle. Okay. Those are what I just did today. Those are super, super beneficial. Just because a lot of times we know what we need to end, but we just don't know where to look, or we just don't trust ourselves enough to go with what we know. Okay. And that's what these ending readings are about. Those are a combination of like mirror flame and flame reflective readings, right? But I also have live mirror flame readings, and there you can get like a reflective reading, which is just like a 7-card pool or whatever, for $44 if you do them on live. Meaning, like, if you do them in this setting, they're cheaper. Okay, almost half the price. Okay, you also can do flame initial readings for cheaper as well. And there's one other reading that's mirror flame readings, which is just a general reading, just kind of like what I was doing at the beginning, where I was just tapping in with their ancestors and seeing what their ancestors were saying. That's a mirror flame reading. That's also cheaper if you do it on live as well. But the special this month is the $99 ending readings. And I just go until there's no time limit or whatever. I just go until spirit tells me to stop preaching. But yeah, it's booked through my website, www.bigtajj.com. And then underneath my photo, it says book a service. If you click on book a service, I do a very, very detailed description of every single service. The only thing that you really need is Telegram, because that's where I'm going to host the session if you decide to do it outside of live, because I also, offer readings outside of live as well. But yeah, if you catch me on live and you stay up to date with my lives, or I notify people on YouTube when I'm going live, and in my Patreon as well. If you stay up to date, a lot of times I'm on here doing free readings, and sometimes I'm just feeling generous, and I do free readings or do free astrology stuff. I do stuff like that all the time. The other day we were on here because I'm redoing astrology based off of the spiritual lens and the oversoul lens instead of it being based off of the like how we've been doing it as a society. It really is supposed to be a map to your oversoul embodiment, right? And so I'm redoing astrology and helping people with their perfection year and stuff like that. We did that together the other day, but I'm also trying to tell people when their threshold points are going to be and when their energy is going to be potent and what each moment is for, because I think so many times we move through life unconsciously when there are ways for us to figure out when our energy is about to go fucking haywire, when we're about to lose friends, when we're about to lose jobs, when we're about to like all of those things. You can use astrology to do that and like map what your initiation stage is, or your oversoul is going through an integration or embodiment or something like that. And so I'm working through that right now, and I'm pretty much all the way done with astrology. Human design, I've completely redid human design to be more so encoded, and I've done probably in these last since Friday, I've probably done like 4 or 5 readings in this new system, and it's so much different than the human design that I was doing before. And I love it. 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 And I've only ever gotten positive feedback. So all of that is available on my website, y'all. I'm gonna hop off of here just so I can take a little break before I take this client in about 50 minutes. And so I love y'all deep. This will be on YouTube. Have an amazing day. I'll be on here tomorrow at the same time to either do some readings or us just chat. If nobody shows up for their readings, that's fine. We could just chat, and have a key, whatever the case may be. All right. Bye, Callie girl. See y'all.